My dears, we are talking today about different kinds of winning, and more specifically, practicing different kinds of winning. And this conversation today was inspired by a chat that I was having with someone. And what I said to her is that, this effort to make progress, the things that you're up to, you can't blow it. You can only practice different kinds of winning. Your clever brain, the part of your brain, the primitive part of your brain that is afraid of you changing anything, afraid of you making progress, growing in any way outside of what is familiar and known to you, hates the idea of you practicing different types of winning. It does not want you to be successful, does not want you to venture outside of what is safe according to its primitive perspective. So it will create rules and strict logics around what constitutes winning and what progress looks like. And when we create really narrow views of what it means to make progress, then we don't give ourselves much opportunity to win and to feel victorious. And when we don't give ourselves that opportunity, then it gives Clever Brain evidence and leverage to demonstrate why we are not the kind of people that can reach our goals, why we're not going to be able to make progress in this way, and why we should just give up and go back to whatever it is that we were doing before we further embarrass ourselves or prove that we are in fact failures and that we have no idea what the hell we're doing. You see that logic? You see how when you start to get very specific in terms of what is okay and what is not okay, and what is success and what is not success, that it makes it harder for you to be successful. And this is something that I think is counterintuitive for a lot of folks. They don't realize that if you really want to start to create momentum and be more successful in moving toward that which you want in your life, you need to give yourself permission to win and to have tiny victories, to look for what did go well and to concentrate on what you have done so that you can start to build the musculature and the tolerance for winning that you need to be able to go forth and keep up the winning and the progress making. So I wanted to share an example in my life of what I'm currently doing to practice different types of winning, and it involves a new exercise that I have been doing about 4 to 6 times a week, which is quite a bit. Oh, hey, Marianne, so good to see you, dear. Um, and yes, I love talking about different types of winning, especially for what you had shared in terms of your recent goals around self-care and really taking exquisite care of yourself. This is a great area to practice different types of winning. So when it comes to me exercising and taking on this new type of what's called the bar method, or it's kind of like a mixture of ballet and Pilates and other really hard things that I don't know how to easily describe. And so what happens pretty much every time I'm in class, when I say pretty much every time, I mean absolutely every single time. I've been to 32 classes, so 32 times this absolutely happens, where there's some move that the instructor is asking us to do, and I physically cannot yet do the move. It is so hard that I can't do it. And I can hear my clever brain come up when I'm in those moments. And my clever brain has all kinds of things to say about how I'm not doing it well enough, that the others in the class are doing it better, that I should have figured this out by now. Why am I so weak? Why don't I have the stamina? Why don't I have the strength? And so one of the things that I've started doing is just paying attention to doing some aspect of the move well. So while I can't yet physically do the whole thing, I will concentrate on, okay, well, if I can't get up on my tippy toes and then squat down and go down 6 inches and then come up 1 inch and all this crazy stuff, let me just see if I can get my toes where they're supposed to be. So can I get my toes up high? Wonderful. So I got that going for me. Maybe everything else is out of position and I can't, bend down and I can't hold it and, whatever. But if I got my toes, then that's good. Except for the times when I can't get my toes in the right position because I don't have the strength to do that yet. So how about can I get my knees bent in the right position? Or how about my shoulders? I'll pick one aspect of my body that I can get into a good spot and I'll focus on that. And I will forgive myself for not being further along than I am right now. I will forgive myself for not being able to do 100% of what it is that I want to do today and just look for the opportunities to win in certain areas. Further, one of the mantras that I've adopted in this process of trying and practicing doing hard things that I haven't yet mastered is that when I notice that I'm falling short of where I would ideally like to be, then I will say to myself, I'm proud of you. And I will just repeat that over and over again to try to drown out the noise of my clever brain that has so much to say about how I'm not doing it perfectly and how I should be better than I am. And I will instead choose to say to myself, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of you. Because showing up and trying and giving it your best, especially when you don't know how to do it the way that you want to do it, or you haven't yet got there, is super, super important to doing what you need to do to build the foundation for you to be able to make progress in those things that are a bit harder. Oh, hey, Marion, see some hearts there. Good. So, for example, Marion, I would love for you to share one of the self-care things that you're working on right now. And then I can speak to some examples of what it might look like to practice different types of winning. If you would be up for sharing that, I'd love to see that in the comments. And in the meantime, I want to share an example from another mapper. Her name is Colleen. And I had a conversation with her a few months ago now, where she was sharing that she had this big test that she was studying for. And this was a really important certification for her career, so much so that she'd actually effectively quit her job or gone on hold, where her full focus was on preparing for this test and a new certification that would launch a whole new chapter of her career. So there was a lot riding on her doing well with this exam. And when I initially spoke to her, she was sharing how she was having trouble meeting her goal of studying for 3 hours a day, despite not working full time and her primary objective being to study for 3 hours a day. She noticed that she was having some resistance. Clever Brain was getting in there and distracting her. And the net result was that she was not studying as much as she felt she needed to. So what she had been doing at the time was mapping her progress with the studying. And she was essentially mapping two results. One, if she had studied for 3 hours a day, and the other, if she had not. So there were two colors that she was using with her maps. And for those of you that aren't familiar with progress maps, the one behind me is an example of artwork that I create that represents bigger goals that we have. And then each of the swirls that make up the full artwork represents an action step that we take. So each time you take the action step, then you color in the swirl and start filling in the piece of artwork to mark your progress as you are taking action toward your goal. So if we think about Colleen's map, she had two colors on her map, and one was for when she met her goal of studying 3 hours, and the other color was for when she didn't. So when I spoke with her, I said, how about we try this? How about you give yourself permission to win in more ways? And what if you added in more colors that represented different variations of you studying? So perhaps if you were studying for an hour or for 2 hours, etc. And so she really got that and decided to go and experiment and see how that worked out for her. And it worked out much better. She had shared that she came up with kind of an expanded logic for what those colors would mean and what kind of victories she could have. So she came up with a series of colors, and light green represented her not doing any studying at all. So for those days where it just did not happen. And then dark green was for some studying, but for less than 3 hours. So that was not quite her 3 hour goal. Purple was for 3 hours when she met her goal. Pink was for 4 hours when she exceeded her goal by an hour. Orange was for 5 hours, and yellow was for 6 or more hours. So effectively doubling her daily goal. And she said it's so funny because this happened a few times where she would get into a zone where she was studying, and then she'd stop to check her stopwatch, and it might say 4.5 hours had gone by. And then she would get excited because she would think, oh, well, if I just study for another 30 minutes, then I could get an orange swirl instead of leaving it at pink. And she said, it's really amazing how satisfying this is to me. And what was so cool is that she ended up studying even more than her original goal and being able to, complete her full map because she gave herself more opportunities to win. Really important. It seems a bit counterintuitive that if you're more generous with yourself, that you are able to achieve more, but it's just how it works. I'd love for you to experiment and try this in your own life. Okay, so Marianne, I'd asked you to share a goal of yours for self-care, and you're saying your goal is getting enough sleep. Clever brain does not like to go to sleep. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's great. So this could be absolutely something that you would map. And I'm just curious, in terms of you getting enough sleep, is it that you are not getting to bed early enough? I'm guessing because you said clever brain does not like to go to sleep, that may be part of it. So please correct me if I'm wrong and give me more details, but let me just go with that example for right now. So I actually am struggling with this as well because my clever brain loves to convince me that it's a good idea to get on my phone late at night and be checking Facebook. And that is just like my kryptonite, right? And I did this last night. I ended up going to bed at like midnight when it would have served me much better to just go to bed at 10 or, whatever. I was feeling tired, and yet I was still like a little lab rat, scrolling through my phone and making comments and checking things. So one thing that you could do if you were mapping your sleep and with a goal to get, say, whatever amount of sleep that is for you, let's just say it's 8 hours. And that that where you're typically getting thrown off and getting stuck or not getting as much sleep is because you're not going to bed early enough. So let's say your target bedtime would be 10 p.m. And that you can stay up as late as midnight. We'll just borrow from my life as part of this example. And what you could do is you could be mapping your daily bedtime. And you could pick, much like Colleen did, you could pick different colors. So maybe you've got one color for when you do go to bed on time at 10 p.m. Maybe you have another color for, say, 10:30. Maybe you have another color for 11, 11:30, and midnight, and maybe another color for after midnight. So Marianne's saying, yes, my brain likes to do things at night, telling me it's the perfect time. Oh my God, such a good example of how clever brain works, right? And that's why I call it clever, because it is so good at coming up with reasons that sound really good and really compelling as to why we should directly act in opposition of whatever our goal is. So it's very manipulative and very convincing. And so when you can notice your clever brain suggesting that now is the perfect time for you to, start getting online, or maybe doing some cleaning, or this is the time to catch up on some TV, or maybe do some reading. It could be anything, and it could occur as something like, oh, this is a really good idea. This is something good that I'm doing for myself. This is good self-care. And yet it's at a cost of your sleep and perhaps your primary goal of getting enough sleep. So when you notice those thoughts that are essentially undermining whatever it is that you're trying to do, you can delight in the noticing that you noticed. Oh, good. This is that thing. This is that thing Amy was talking about. This is my clever brain. So you get to notice it and then choose to take action that serves you, or as I would say it, action coming from love. So let's say you, again, have your goal of going to bed at, say, 10 p.m., and you could use your progress map each night to color in when you actually do go to bed. And what you would probably find is that you may be more motivated to go to bed earlier so that you can color in the shade that you really want to color that signifies your highest level of victory. So it's just fascinating how it works. And I'd really encourage you guys to experiment with this for yourself and give yourself permission to just win at different levels, to commit to not failing or allowing yourself to view whatever your actions are as a failure, because ultimately it doesn't support you practicing. It doesn't support you getting better at things, and it doesn't support you in making sustainable progress. It's just kind of mires us in the fear and guilt and shame and all kinds of things that can weigh us down and keep us stuck exactly where we are at. So the antidote to that is to come at it instead from love, and to say, okay, this is going to be our goal. We're going to have a goal of going to bed earlier, and we're going to come up with a bunch of different ways for us to win. And even on those days where you stay up past midnight and you don't even think that you have a good reason, and it's tempting to have Clever Brain go into that logic about how you really blew it and you screwed it up, and why can't you do something so simple, and all that kind of nasty shit that Clever Brain has to say about it. You just color in whatever the color is for that day, and just acknowledge that, okay, today this is what it was. That's all. We went to bed at 12:30. No big deal. Tomorrow is a new day. And then you get to try again. You just get to let go of whatever that perceived failure is, whatever that shortcoming is. Just let it go and let it be exactly where it's at. And know that you did the best you could that day, and that you get another opportunity to practice. You get countless opportunities to practice recognizing your clever brain and the thoughts that it uses to keep you from moving forward and to keep you from feeling empowered and feeling like, yeah, I'm doing the things, I'm growing, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting better. That's what I refer to as sustainable momentum, where there's this energy that you feel that feels like it's moving you in the direction that you want to go, and moving you to that which makes you feel stronger and more alive and brighter. So anyhow, it seems a little counterintuitive, but I've seen it again and again, not only in my life, but in so many of the clients that I've worked with and others who have been mapping their progress, that when you give yourselves more opportunities to win, you win. It's amazing. It's like, just cultivating that tolerance of allowing yourself to win, of allowing yourself to feel good. It's definitely not something that Clever Brain wants you to do. So generally speaking, it's a good rule of thumb that if Clever Brain doesn't want you to do it, it would be a good idea for you to do it. Because whatever Clever Brain doesn't want you to do is that which is going to grow you and that which is going to help you create new habits. Okay, so Marianne's saying, I will definitely try this. Thank you. This is great help. I'm so glad, my dear. Please keep us posted. We'd love for you to update in the comments and just let us know how it goes. Okay? All right, guys. I love being with you and love having these progress chats. I do them Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Pacific, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you all on Thursday. And just extra special for this next week, I am launching my new course called The First 5 Steps to Accomplishing Any Big, Scary Goal. And I'm super happy with the initial reception, and those of you that have registered early for VIP access, that have joined us in the Facebook group, that are sharing your big, scary goals, and are already thinking about what it would look like if you were a little bit braver in your life and what actions you might take. And I can't wait to walk you through those first 5 steps next week. This course is a beginner's course that will soon be available on mapyourprogress.com in late May, and it will be available for $97. Though if you choose to take the course live with me, May 15th through 19th, then you get to come as my guest, and you don't have to pay a thing. You just show up and do the course with me. You get the full course, full benefits, and I'm excited because I know I've seen it so many times, like what happens when you start to practice being braver, and when you start getting into action and taking those first steps toward that goal, which seems so big and scary. Your clever brain hates it. But what happens is that you start to connect and discover to your own strength and what is really possible, and the fact that you get to choose. So if that sounds like your kind of party, please join us. You can go ahead and get signed up at mapyourprogress.com/bigscarygoal. All right, dears. Great to be with you, and I will look forward to seeing you on Thursday.